taught school in Green Mountain and lived between Green Mountain and Marshalltown. And on the place where they lived, they had a creek that ran along behind, and it was a pretty good sized lot. And I expected it nearly an acre. Her husband's name was Charlie, and Garnett liked animals, and she particularly liked goats. And Charlie didn't like animals, and he particularly didn't like goats, and goats didn't like him. And they
Hey, Harlow.
had a garage that was attached to the house, and every time Charlie'd come home, he'd have to look all around and turn the lights of his car one way and then another to see where that goat was. Well, this day, he came home, had a bunch of groceries, and looked for the goat and didn't find the goat. So he kept looking and never did find the goat. So he thought, well, he was right by the kitchen door, and so he'd make a try. Which he did. He tried, and the goat was somewhere, I don't know where, but it was right there on top of him when he got out of the car.
With the groceries.
With the groceries. Had a handful of groceries. And the goat hit him in the rear, knocked him up, the groceries came down on top of him. And he got up and crawled and ran as fast as he could and finally got into the kitchen. As he got into the kitchen, the goat was right after him and hit the kitchen door and went into the kitchen. Charlie grabbed the door that goes into the living room, and the goat hit that door and got into the living room with him. Charlie got back into the kitchen all right, and the goat followed him back into the kitchen. And Charlie went around, clear around, and got into the living room. The goat was still in the kitchen. And he sat down and was mad at the goat, and there was a baseball bat there. So he picked up the baseball bat and took a look in the kitchen, and there was the goat. So Charlie opened the door, picked up the bat, and hit the goat in the head. And he thought he'd killed the goat. So he pulled him with his hind legs and pulled him out back and threw him in the ditch. Then went back in the house, and he was all hot and bothered, and he knew that his wife would kill him when she got home. And so he went into the living room and sat down. There was a big picture window, covered about half the living room. And he looked up, and here was the goat. Out in the front yard. And he got up, he was really mad this time. He shook his fist at the goat. And the goat started, put his head down and started to pull him up some grass with his front feet. And then it went up and jumped and went through the window. Then he was in the living room, and Charlie had left the door ajar into the kitchen. The goat hit the door into the kitchen, went into the kitchen. Charlie was really mad at this point, so he sat down in the living room, and he heard a big bam and some crackling, and he got up and he opened the door, and the goat had seen himself in the window in the oven. He hit the oven and broke the door out of the oven. So Charlie still had the bat. Let the goat over the head and dragging him out and threw him in the ditch again. Went in the house to wait for his wife to get home. That's the end of the goat.
Well, now was she upset at the goat or was she upset at Charlie?
Yeah,
Yes.
about the end of Charlie.
Imagine coming home, the groceries are all
their
over
life.
the house. The picture window is broken. Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.